Today, on The Raging Atheist, I'm gonna rage at some faith-healing fuckbags. What is up, you heathens and demons? Welcome back to The Raging Atheist. I'm your boy Nakasuchi, and I often say that I like to take recommendations from my audience, from my repeat commenters, and I like to research that, and I like to respond to it. And I'm probably gonna butcher the name. I think your name is Susan Yo, something like that. A repeat commenter always has great comments. Told me, hey, check out the Followers of Christ Church in Oregon, and I did. And yeah, like, you know, a lot of kids have died. A lot of kids, and you hear about faith healing, and you hear the occasional story where a child dies. But here at this church in Oregon, a lot of children have died. And this church in Oregon didn't originate in Oregon, though. It originated in Idaho. And while Oregon has fixed its faith healing laws and doesn't allow these murderers to get away with their fucking murder anymore, Idaho hasn't.
And Dan continues to uncover new information about the faith healing community in our area. Dan, former followers actually turned to you again with alarming information about never before reported deaths.
Right. We want to put this all in context. Now, remember, the Oregon Followers of Christ, they came from the Idaho church. Now, 2 years ago, we found followers dying or still dying there, even as Oregon was strengthening its laws against the practice of faith healing. So when we got this new tip, we went back. On a windswept hillside 30 miles east of Boise, you'll find Peaceful Valley Cemetery. This is where some Followers of Christ faith healers bury their dead.
Now, we're gonna get into some disturbing shit with this video. I'm gonna warn you right away. This shit disturbs me, and I wanna fucking rage on it. But I often get attacked. One of the ways Christians attack me is, why are you picking on these cult bunnies? They're just telling the world their beliefs. Why are you attacking people's beliefs? It's just what they believe. Blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm gonna show you why I attack these beliefs, because these beliefs are dangerous. And I'm not talking dangerous as, oh, it was dangerous back in the days of antiquity. No, I'm saying it's dangerous right now. There's proof that it's dangerous right now. I showed you the cult of Wells. I showed you how it's very easy to get these people that believe in this bullshit. You know, like, I've always said there's a difference between a Christian and a fundy, right? It's really easy to get fundamentalists already on the verge of absolute craziness to believe even crazier shit. And we have a whole lot of fundies in America, especially along the Bible Belt. You call them evangelicals. I call them crazy cultists, because that's what they are. And that's what I'm going to look at in this series, crazy cults, because I want to look at crazy fucking cults and show you how easy it is for even moderate religion to become fundamental religion, and that this ideology is dangerous. And these children are dying by the very people that are going to claim to be pro-life, that are going to be so against abortion, when all the science proves that those fetuses are not alive. They are becoming alive. You know, it is the process, and that's a whole different debate. I am not personally for abortion. Like, I would never have an abortion. I would never want one of my girlfriends to have an abortion. I wouldn't want that. But that doesn't mean I'm not pro-choice. You know, and it's a whole argument that I'm going to try to steer clear of, because I do try to keep politics out of this channel. But these are the people that call themselves pro-life, and they are murdering living children by not calling the ambulances, by not getting these people to the doctor, by praying their illnesses away. When that shit don't work, prayer don't work, God doesn't exist. And it's time to rage at these fucktards.
These are the same names you see over and over again, and they go back decades. You see a lot of the same last names that you see in Oregon City. Names like Bigley.
Mr. and Mrs. Bigley, you guys have anything to say?
Remember, it was Jeff and Marcy Bigley who were convicted of letting their son Neil die of an untreated urinary tract condition. They went to prison in 2010 after Oregon cracked down on parents relying solely on prayer for their sick kids.
I mean, seriously, what kind of a fucking sociopath do you have to be to sit there and watch your child suffer and knowing that there's a remedy to that suffering and you're gonna let him suffer anyway to the point of death? You're gonna sit there and watch your child die when there's a way to save that child. What kind of sociopath do you have to be? But these are Christian loving people, right? These are the followers of Christ. That's the name of their church. And yet I'm the asshole. I'm the asshole for calling this ideology out.
At the cemetery, there's also this name, Eels. We actually came here to Idaho because a former church member told us to look specifically for this grave, Garrett Dean Eels. Garrett was a 6-day-old baby. The coroner's report says he died in April of interstitial pneumonitis. That's pneumonia, untreated. We were also told to look for the grave of Jackson Scott Porter, who we learned was actually a baby girl. Your granddaughter only lived for 20 minutes, and the coroner's report says your daughter never had prenatal care or anything like that. Well, Mark Jerome is Jackson's grandfather. She was born in his house 3 months ago when his daughter went into labor. Extreme prematurity.
Mark Jerome? Was that your name, Mark Jerome? You're a fucking murderer and you deserve to be in prison. Straight up. Deserve to be in prison. You should have called the ambulance the moment your daughter went into labor. But because of your religious beliefs, you chose not to do so. Your religious beliefs brand you a murderer. You should be put in jail as a murderer. And I'm going to call you, as myself, the raging atheist, an atheist that's supposed to have no morality. I'm going to call you an immoral fucktard.
Well, when she came over, she was just sick. Like a kidney infection or something like that, so she just wanted to come to the house for a couple days. And when she had a baby, nobody expected it. There was no warning or nothing, and it just happened that quick. But
she never had any prenatal care. Do you regret that?
No, because that's the way we believe. You know, we believe in God, and the way God handles the situation, the way we do things.
She was just sick. She just had a kidney stone or a kidney infection. Nah, dude, she was pregnant. She was fucking pregnant. And she had the baby there in your house. And you didn't call the ambulance. And this baby was premature. You know, modern science today, we have solutions for that. All you had to do was call the ambulance and this child would have had a chance to live. Now, if you didn't want to give this child a chance to live, you could have been decent and aborted before the child was a child. You see, for all your talk of being pro-life, these religious beliefs, this belief in Jesus, this belief in God, has made you a murderer.
And indeed, at the cemetery, an alarming reality started to take shape. New grave after new grave. 10 children, each dead in the 2 years since our last report. One of them is 15-year-old Arian Jade Grandin. Like so many kids, she had a Facebook page and used Pinterest. She ran track when she was in middle school. Well, last June, she got food poisoning and was vomiting so much she had a rupture of her esophagus. She slipped into unconsciousness and went into cardiac arrest. None of the parents of the kids who are buried here will be prosecuted. That's because the faith healing laws that were wiped out in Oregon are still on the books here in Idaho.
Fucking food poisoning, yo. She died from food poisoning. This beautiful young woman that had she just been given the chance to live her life might have broken away from this fucked up cult her parents had born her into. And in my next video, we're gonna look at testimony from some of the people that have broken away from the followers of Christ Church in Oregon and in Idaho. And we're gonna look at their interpretation of this crazy ass cult. Because this is dangerous. People are dying. And it's just not that. It's the fact that you can sit there and watch it. All right, say you have conviction. Say you want to have faith in God and you want to bear that out. You know, when it becomes apparent that they're dying, how do you as a parent not swallow that pride of yours and pick up that phone? It's you know, and this is Trump's America now. I guarantee you that Trump and Mike Pence would be cool with this shit.
And that means the parents of this girl can't be prosecuted either. Her name was Pamela Jade Eels. Remember that name? Pamela was 16 years old. That case bugs you.
That's putting it mildly.
Dr. Charles Garrison did Pamela's autopsy. She's another Followers of Christ child who died of pneumonia.
You're looking at a lung with pneumonia. Well, you're drowning in your own fluids.
But that's only part of Pamela's story. Her death came after she fought a long chronic battle with an infection in her pelvic bone, and her case haunts Dr. Garrison.
It's inexplicable to me to comprehend how anyone can watch a child die and do nothing.
You know, I am a unique person and I've had a very unique medical history. I've had pneumonia and I'm going to speak about that in a minute, but first I'm going to speak about when I was 6 months old, I was diagnosed with spinal meningitis. Now this was way back in 1977, yo. Spinal meningitis. I was supposed to die. I was supposed to be dead. And if I didn't die, I was supposed to be so transformed and disfigured that my parents would have had to hid me away in a fucking basement so I wouldn't scare their fucking guests. I mean, that's what happened to people. But because they had just making some very significant scientific breakthroughs, they were able to treat me. And even though it was considered a miracle at the time, I not only lived, but as you can see, I'm not deformed. I guess that's a matter of opinion, but I'm a normal person. Spinal meningitis, 6 months old. So I'm a miracle story. I should not have lived. You know, and it wasn't your fucking God. It wasn't prayer, although I'm sure my parents were praying. It was medical science. Now, let's jump ahead 13 years. When I did have pneumonia, and we're talking, this was what? I'm about to be 41, so we're gonna call this 28 years ago. I got pneumonia. Now, this chick was 16 and in a much more modern time with much better modern science to combat that sickness. I had to stay out of school for 2 weeks. I ate a lot of Jell-O and I took my medicine, and guess what? I didn't fucking die. I didn't fucking die. If you're not getting your child the medical attention she or he needs, that is on you as a parent, and you are the fucking murderer.
We went to the place where Pamela died, her parents' house, and her father answered the door. I understand from the pathologist that he's troubled by your daughter's case and want to talk to you about it. Rarely have we had success getting followers to talk to us about their children's deaths. Not at Pamela's house, and not at the home of Dan and Sally Seavey. Can you explain to us the thoughts about not taking your son to the doctor, getting him treatment?
Just say no comment.
And these are some cowardly motherfuckers, right? All right, so this is your religious beliefs. This is your conviction, right? You're standing up for your religious rights as Americans, and yet you can't even answer the fucking questions. You can't even look those motherfuckers in the eye and say, no, this is my religious beliefs, yo. And we're about to see somebody that at least has that courage, even though everything he says is deplorable and despicable. At least he does have that courage, but most of these bitches are cowards. They're cowards. If you're gonna kill your child because of your religious beliefs, your religious convictions, these bullshit things you think, this fucking imaginary person that never even fucking existed, and if he did exist, he sure as fuck wasn't no God. How can I say that? Because it's not possible. He's a human being. It's not possible for a fucking virgin to have a baby. It's just not possible. Unless you're artificially inseminated. Modern science. So if you're gonna kill your child based upon these beliefs, you should at least answer the fucking questions.
It was here in the Seavey's house the coroner says their 14-year-old boy also succumbed to pneumonia. His mother was holding him on her lap when he died, and his name was Rocky.
What I will talk to you about is the law.
Okay.
I would like to remind you that this country was founded on religious freedom and on freedom in general. I would say that I picture freedom as a full object by itself. It's not like you take a freedom away, it's that you chip at the entire thing.
Alright, and I already gave this fucktard credit for his courage. Now let's talk about what he's saying. For one, he's only partially right. I often say that this country was indeed founded on the retarded religious fundamentalism that he's talking about. The Puritans did come here seeking religious freedom, but they weren't the only motherfuckers that came here. You know, so this country wasn't really founded upon seeking religious freedom. It was, one group was, a few groups were, because they were so outrageously fundamental with their religion that they weren't welcome in their home countries. That's the truth of it. Study these motherfuckers. I have. They were kicked out of several countries before coming to America. And what did they bring with them when they came to America? But their fucked up religious beliefs, which led to slavery, Native American genocide, the lack of freedom for individuals that wasn't white and men until recent times. It took us, what, 250 fucking years to fix that shit? And now we're slipping backwards with Trump? But that's a whole nother video. That's a whole nother video, and I really don't want to alienate you. Well, I don't give a fuck if I alienate you Trumpers, because you're crazy. If you're a Trumper and an atheist, you need to evaluate your ideology. Just my opinion. But I got sidetracked. So what else is he saying? He's saying that you can't take away one little freedom. Look, my right to kill my child for my religious beliefs is a freedom. And if you take that away, then they're going to take away freedoms from you. I'm going to have to call bullshit on that, because that just makes no fucking sense. You should not have freedom to kill your child. That should never be a freedom you fucking have. And only these religious fucktards would think that that's a freedom you should fucking have. No, call the ambulance or go to jail, bitch.
Freedom is freedom. Whenever you try to restrict one person or another in any fashion, then you're chipping away at freedom. Yours and mine.
Do you think your son had freedom of choice?
Dan.
That's not a question I'm going to go into. I told you I'd talk about freedom.
Dan, just.
I want to talk about a child who died.
Well, I told you I'm not going to do that.
You know, I don't even really like thinking about it, although as a parent, you think you do have these thoughts. What if my child would have died? And I think that if my child had died, I would take every opportunity I could to talk about my child. So obviously there's guilt on this motherfucker, you know, that is just plain, and he should have guilt because he murdered his child. He murdered them because he felt like his God would take care of it. But guess what? God doesn't exist. It was a story created in antiquity to bring human beings together. You know, because everybody believed in different shit. It's the way that it's been used to control populations and control people's mode of thinking for so long now that it's ingrained in human DNA. But luckily, the last couple centuries, free thinkers have emerged, and it's been longer than that. But these secular societies have provided platforms for people like me, and I'm just small potatoes right now, but platforms for people like us to attack this shit, because there never have been before. Never before were you hearing about the faith healers in Idaho or Oregon, but now you are. Why? Because these are sick fucktards, and they're a direct result, they're a direct symptom of the sickness that is religion. And people say that I'm extreme because I do believe that we need to have laws against religion. That we need to enforce the separation of church and state and make sure that, you know, if you're gonna get involved in politics at all, you gotta pay taxes and you're no longer considered that church thing. And I hate the, I mean, why should we give credence to a lie? prove the existence of God, prove the existence of Jesus for that matter, or shut the fuck up about it. But not all Christians are equal in their fucktardery. Like I said, most normal Christians are compassionate, normal people. They just believe a foolish thing. They don't allow their belief in this foolish thing to progress to the point that their child are gonna fucking die in their arms. This faith healing bullshit is a far, far extremity of the Christian religion. And it should be Christians calling this shit out, not atheists. I mean, I'm not gonna let my child die. I'm speaking to you fucktards, begging you to at least, I mean, don't you think that if God does exist, that he created all this medical shit so we could live longer? I mean, I thought he loved us more than anything. Wouldn't he want us to discover ways to live longer? I mean, you guys make no fucking sense. But as always, I'm Nakasuchi calling this bullshit out. This is The Raging Atheist. If you like my videos, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share me on your social media, comment in the comment section below. I'll see you soon.